So today I'll be creating a double gatefold card featuring the pattern paper Peaceful Place by Stampin' Up. These are 12 by 12 gray and white foil designer series paper. You get 12 sheets, 2 each of 6 double-sided designs. So if you're interested in this, please do stick around. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Claudette with Mspuff Creative Corner. Let's jump right into our project. So with our 12 by 12 paper, we're going to go ahead and cut that down to 5.5 by 12 inches. I chose the one with the snowflakes and the checkered design, and this is not a directional pattern, so I think that's going to work best here with this double gatefold card. So after this card, I'll be creating 2 different card designs, so stick with me to the end. So next what we're going to do is we're going to put it on the long side, the 12-inch side, and we're going to do some scoring. So we're going to go ahead and score along the 12-inch side at 2 inches. Four inches. 8 inches, then 10 inches. Then you're just going to fold along those score lines. Next, we're going to measure on the short side. And we're going to measure in. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to measure in up to from one end to the middle at 2 3/4 of an inch. And that's exactly half of 5.5 inches. So it's not going to matter which end you use. So you're going to do it on either side. You're going to mark on the 5.5 inch side at 2 3/4 of an inch with your pencil. Then we're going to cut an angle from that score line. You can see where it is scored to your pencil mark. And we're going to cut that off. So let's go ahead. You're going to put the score line in the track and make sure the pencil mark is in the track, and we're going to cut a diagonal slit off. If you could see that pencil mark, and that top to the score line is right there in your track, and you're going to go ahead and cut that off. And you're going to do it on the other end. You're going to do the exact same thing on the other end. Then you should have these 2 triangle pieces left over, which we're going to use. Then you're going to fold the first panel over on itself to show the inside of that designer series paper. And you see, you want this to have a pattern on either side. This is where you're going to get the look, and you're going to take those triangle pieces and you're going to glue it onto the bottom piece. So we're going to add some multi-purpose glue on the checkered side because we want the snowflake side to be showing, and you're going to bring that into the bottom end. And I have a little bit of a tip hanging over there to the end. If you could see that point sticking out, you could trim those off. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And you see that give that beautiful diamond look. Now we're going to have a piece of cardstock for the inside. And that cardstock is measuring 5 inches by 3.5 inches. And you want to keep in mind that this is designer series paper or your pattern paper, which is a little bit more flimsy. So adding the cardstock is going to make it a little bit more sturdy. So we're going to go ahead and stamp a sentiment in the inside on the white piece of cardstock. And snowflake wishes for a Merry Christmas. So you always want to stamp first before you add your glue. So if you make a mistake, you have the opposite side to stamp on. So I'm just adding some multi-purpose glue to that, and I'm sticking it down in the center of our card. I am going to add a little snowflake, and I use the die cut and cut that out of silver foil, just carrying over with the theme. And I'm using the Snowflake Wishes stamp set, and it also has coordinating dies. So I'm just using my bone folder, giving that a nice tighter crease, and I'm going to add a ribbon to this to create a belly band, and this is a silver ribbon. And then I'm just going to create a bow. If you're new to my channel and you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload my latest videos. So I want to get that bow nice and tight and get those ears and tails situated so it could be well uniformed. So now I am going to stamp a sentiment and a white piece of cardstock just to add a shape on the outside of my card. And I'm using for Unto Us stamp set. And I'm using a nice large print. I love this font. And I'm going to be using the Label Me Lovely punch to cut this sentiment out. So I'm just going to add some dimensionals to pop that up, and I'm just going to add it to one side, on that left side, okay, because we want to be able to open up our card. So we're just going to stick it onto that left side only. So guys, stick with me to the end. So I have 2 other cards that I am going to create using this designer series paper. I am going to add some little bling right on top of that sparkly star to finish up my card. Isn't that lovely? I'm just going to trim the tails off of my ribbon. Make that a little shorter. So the recipient, all they have to do is, hopefully they'll know to just pull that ribbon off and then open that there. And I think this is just a beautiful, beautiful design idea with that diamond shape. So let's move on to our next card design. So we're going to start out with the white base measuring 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and you're going to go ahead and score it down the middle or fold it in half at 4.25 inches. Next, I'm just going to come in with my bone folder and give that a nice tight crease. So we're going to use this designer series paper here with the Christmas tree and the snow. So these are just beautiful winter cards. It doesn't have to be Christmas. And you could stamp on these designer series paper. So keep in mind, when you have your printed paper, you could also stamp on those. And this have a lot of white, so you have a lot of areas where you could stamp. So I'm going to cut that down so you could see that they have like 4 little areas you could cut that down. So I'm going to cut them down by 6 by 6 inches. So the Stampin' Up was really creative in giving us this design where we could cut these down by 6 by 6 inches in the paper. So what I'm going to do is I just want to salvage the tree so I could use some of it on another project. So I don't want to be wasteful. So I created some layering templates. And I did it in an earlier video. I'm going to list that up to the top if you guys are interested in that. So I'm just going to put that down to on top of my image designer series paper and see how much I could salvage on the Christmas tree and how much to cut that down to. So I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So I salvaged that little piece of paper with the trees that I could use on another project. So I'm just trimming some off to the tip of the tree on the top. So I don't really want to cut off the top of the tree. Then I am going to cut some off of the bottom. Next, I'm using Nature's Beauty. I'm going to use that little bunny to stamp on my designer series paper. And I am using black Memento ink to stamp him on. And I think that came up perfect. So the proportion is nice, the bunny to the tree. Then I'm going to add Merry Christmas in our Real Red ink. If you guys are getting any creative value from this video, go ahead and smash that like button down below. Then I'm going to come in with some foil paper to add a layering behind my designer series paper, and that foil paper is measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4 inch. So then I am just going to get some adhesive, and this is my liquid glue. And I'm going to put those layers together. And I just let a very small amount of that silver peeking through. With my layered templates, that's kind of nice because then you could add your templates to the back. So you could see exactly how much of a border you want to see on your card. So I love the template idea. So let's add that leftover scrap piece to the inside. Waste not, want not, as my parents would say. Then I'm also going to go ahead and stamp an image in the inside, and I'm just going to add a tree from that same stamp set, and I am using our basic gray. Then I'm going to stamp a sentiment in the inside using that same basic gray ink, and this sentiment was taken from the stamp set for Unto Us. So next I'm going to be creating a slimline card. So my basic gray cardstock is measuring 8.5 inches by 7 inches. You want to score along the 7-inch side at 3.5 inches and fold it down the middle. Then I'm going to just take my bone folder and give that a nice tight crease. Then I am going to use the designer series paper here with the log cabins. And this is just speaks for itself. With this paper, you could color the log cabins. So keep in mind also you could color your designer series paper. But I just like the black and white look. And we're going to cut that down to 8¼ inch by 3¼ inch. You could also save your scrap piece of paper for the inside of your card if you would like. So we're going to just add some multi-purpose glue to the back of that and adhere that to our basic gray cardstock. And just leaving just a hint of gray showing. So I'll be creating a label for the outside of this card, and I'm going to be using one of the label dies from Stitch So Sweetly die sets. And I am using the stamp Sentiment Noel, and that was from our Wrapped in Christmas stamp set, which Stampin' Up does not sell anymore. So if you're interested in getting any of the items, I'll list them in the description down below. So this is a complete Stitch So Sweetly die set. It comes with 10 dies. So this is a lot of white on this label. So what we're going to do first is to pop it up with some dimensionals. I'm going to add 5 to the back of that. Next, I'm going to add a tiny little bow that I created to fill in some of that white space. So next what we're going to do is just create a layer for the inside of our card, and we're going to cut that down to 8 inches by 3 inches. And we're going to add a sentiment in there from the stamp set for Unto Us. And when you have your slimline cards, you want to make sure your sentiment is kind of proportionate to your layer. So I have a sentiment which is horizontal, which fits nicely into this layer. Then to carry that through, extend that, I'm just going to add some stars to the end of it. So next up, I'm just going to add some multi-purpose glue to the back of that white cardstock and add that layer to the inside of our card. So I'm just going to add some rhinestone because I think that's still too much white space, and I think that came out lovely. So let's bring in all the other cards. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Claudette, and I'll catch you on my next video.